Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live Lumino stream. We're happy to be back, and today again we have someone really special to talk with us. It's an early show, but it's an awesome show. So good morning for you guys who are in the morning side. Good afternoon to the other ones. To those like me who are in the darker side. We're getting to the evening here. So. Before we get to the show today, I just want to remind you that you can subscribe to our channel to get notified when we have more stuff coming in. And that's a great idea because we're doing these basically every week. So if you want to know more about the next shows, the following shows that we're doing, subscribe to the channel. It's really easy. You've done that before. Just, go with your little mouse thingy there and just hit on subscribe. It's easy. Since you're there, hit on hit that like button as well, because it helps us a lot. Thank you so much. Feel free to drop in the chat where you're coming from, where you're watching from. Some people are already doing that from Minneapolis, from Mexico, from all over the place. Today we're broadcasting from 3 locations. We're broadcasting from the UK, from the US, and from Germany. It's a great show. And with that, I will throw to my good friend, Bill Carlson from Minneapolis. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
Hey, Brissani. Did I hear you say you're coming from the dark side?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, now you finally admitted it. Huh?
It's a little Star Wars info thing that some people will pick up. So thank you.
Well, thanks so much, man. It's great to see you and great to see everybody participating again. We grow every time we do one of these. We add some audience.
We took a brief break.
Yeah,
just a brief break.
Yeah, and I'm Bill Carlson.
I'm Denise Gardner.
And we're very excited about today's live stream with master photographer Elke Vogelsang. Elke's work has appeared in countless publications worldwide, from National Geographic to the Daily Telegraph. She's also published 2 photo books, Nice Nosing You, which I can't wait to see, and Workshop Hundefotografie. And with that said, Rodrigo, let's bring in our featured guest.
Open door number 2. There she is.
There she is.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Elke.
Hello. Welcome, Elke.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, so we're so happy to have you here with us today, Elke. Thank you so much. I think this has everything to be the most fun stream we have, because we've been looking at the pictures that you sent us for the selection that you've sent us, and it's just like one joyful thing after another. It's just so much of fun and joy. And with that, I think I'll just go ahead and bring our first picture so we can talk over them, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. Great.
Okay, so
point right away. I was going to say we love talking about photography, but usually, a lot of photographers do very serious subjects, and their photographs are a metaphor for pain or loss. And so it's, it's like in the movie business, we say, whether it's a good movie or a bad movie or a happy movie or a sad movie, it's still the same amount of work. And I think that's true in photography, whether it's a happy photograph or a sad photograph. I think it's, equally an equal amount of work, an equal amount of effort.
Yeah. I think the thing that strikes me the most about your photography is it's so imaginative from image to image. In fact, maybe we could move along to the next image and start showing some examples of that. You find the variety constantly in your animal photography that you rarely see.
Well, thank you very much.
Is this one of your animals? No, we do see one back on the couch behind you.
Is this your cat? Is this your cat as well? No, there he is.
So this is Noodle sleeping here. This is my oldest dog. She's 14 now.
Oh my.
The others are sleeping back there. I hope they don't start barking.
Well,
it's that kind of show. I mean,
they're welcome to do that.
We're not terribly concerned about that.
There's no extra charge
Right.
for the barking.
Because we're busy
Hey, Elke.
here, you'll see people walking through our background too.
Elke, let me ask you specifically about this picture, because it's it has that almost that painting quality to it. It's almost like like you have to stop and look at it closer to see whether it's a painting or a realistic drawing. How do you get to that? How's your treatment process for these pictures?
Okay, first of all, of course, it's a very, very beautiful kitten. These were rescue kittens. They were looking for homes, actually. Of course, as you can probably see, they found homes very, very quickly. They were absolutely beautiful. And this guy here was really cool. And he posed for my pictures in a way. So that was already a very, very thankful model, if you like. So I try to keep my pictures very, very basic, very, very simple. So I've got this fake fur here, which I got from my husband, actually. He works in a cinema, and they had this promotion for a film about Bigfoot. And so there was this Bigfoot fur they had, and he brought it home, and I use it as a prop, which is a very simple prop, but the cats like to play in it. And yeah, I used it as a background as well as the platform for the kittens to stand on. And so the picture is already quite simple. And I don't do that much Photoshop work, actually. I make sure there's no loose fur, and I clone that out, and I make sure there are no smudges or maybe no water at the nose or the eyes, and that's more or less it. Of course, I always have a look if the picture is really pin sharp, and in the studio you have this small aperture with lots of sharpness in the picture.
Well, you're going to soon have a blossoming, career as an animal wrangler in the film business, because how do you get these animals to cooperate with you? I mean, I can't even get him to cooperate with me. How do you get a kitten and a dog?
That's nothing new.
Yeah.
Working with my husband is also definitely more difficult than working with kittens or dogs. Yeah, I have something to play, and kittens, when they're not too scared, they are still very, very playful. And I put them on a platform which is not too high. So if they jump off that platform, they don't hurt themselves. So cats can actually jump quite well, but the platforms I use for dogs are only, not very high. And so, but it does restrict the area. And I have something they are interested in for kittens. It's usually something like a feather or some fake mouse to play with them. Or I've got for dogs and cats treats of all kind, like pate, liver pate in tubes, for example. And so you have to keep their attention and make sure they have fun and they are engaged. And frequent breaks are very important too.
Okay. Wow.
Which is more difficult to work with, cats or dogs?
Cats, definitely. If they decide they don't want to cooperate, then that's it. You can't make them cooperate. A dog, you can tell a dog, well, you have to sit here now, even though you might find it a bit boring. And the dog, if he knows some commands, will do that. A cat won't do that.
Speaking of dogs, look at this fellow.
Maybe over this picture, we know your story, but there are probably some who are watching who don't know your story. And I only recently, you and I connected, and I love the story of how you came to photography. And maybe you could tell the audience what your journey was and how you came into the industry.
Yeah, I always liked to photograph. My mother was always made sure that I have a camera with me. And so I took a camera with me also on school excursions, for example, but I only snapped away. I never really thought about what I was doing. Once in a while, I tried to become a better photographer, but the time in between was too long, so I kept forgetting whatever I learned. And then a very stressful time started. That was in 2007. My husband and I took on my mother-in-law. She was a lovely lady, but she had dementia. So we took her into our house, and we took care of her. And dementia is very challenging. And 2 years into that, my father died, and I had to take care of my mother. So I had my mother-in-law and my mother to take care of in a way. And during that time, on Christmas, so I had decided to start a one picture a day project on January 1st, 2010. I wanted to do something to keep up a bit of normality, or do something for myself, to have something like a creative outlet to this stressful time. But shortly before that, on Christmas, the dogs, Scout, which you can see here, and my oldest dog, now Noodles here, started barking and howling, and they made a lot of fuss. And they ran straight to the bathroom door, where I found my husband unconscious in the bathtub. And the diagnosis was severe brain hemorrhage due to ruptured aneurysm. So that was now complete and utter chaos. And I started this one picture a day project, despite my husband being in hospital, or rather because of it, because I wanted to try to keep up a bit of a normal life, or pretend there is also the normal life. And thankfully, my husband recovered fully. So he had no short-term memory at all for several months, weeks, 2 months, around 2 months. And I brought the pictures to the hospital, showed him the pictures, and we tried to regain his memory. Well, actually, I was the only one trying to regain it, because he was perfectly happy without having a short-term memory. And he recovered fully. We were really, really lucky. But photography was such an enjoyment for me. I enjoyed it so much that I kept on taking pictures. And as my dogs were often my models, more and more people asked me if I could photograph their dogs too. So 1.5 years into that journey, I decided to register a business as a photographer. And do more of what I love. I used to be a technical translator. I translated technical manuals into German, which is a very uncreative job. That
sounds like fun. That sounds like great fun. Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so I wanted to spend more time with photography and with dogs and animals. And that's how it came about. And I never thought that things would turn out the way they did. I was... I worked several years on it, and I'm now able to make a living from it for 2 humans and 3 dogs, which is a dream come true. And I never thought that would happen. So,
do you have room for 2 more humans? Because we're hoping that success will continue to go up. Because we could, could you take care of us as well?
Exactly.
We just,
I'm not sure I'm a good business coach, for example. I just try to really do what I love and keep on doing it. You have to have lots of patience. I had to have lots of patience, not only with the models, but also with myself. And I was not very confident, and I had to learn to be a business person in a way. I'm still not really a business person, but I had to learn to charge properly and so on. I had, in many ways, the typical example of somebody who's bound to fail in that business, because I also kept thinking, how can I charge money for something I love doing so much? So I had to learn.
Right.
Don't say I love this. Oh, well, I can get it cheaper.
Yeah.
You know that you love what you do and you do what you love.
Yes. And it's very true. I think this is not common is the wrong word, but it is through and through our photography world that people do love what they're doing. And you're a great example of that.
So, okay, speaking of love and fun, let's talk about speaking here.
Oh my God.
This is a great one. I love this one.
This is like this reminds me of like 3 scoops of ice cream, like in a banana split.
Or a choir.
Or a choir, yeah.
Yeah. So these are my 3 dogs. So from left to right, that's Noodle, Scout, and Yoli.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
that I had, well, in the beginning, when I started out as a photographer, I shot lots and lots of different subjects. I also did weddings, for example, because that's where the money was in a way. So, but it's, I'm usually too nervous for weddings. But I had this expensive, fancy equipment. I had a Canon 5D Mark III and a Canon 7D for my weddings, and to make sure I don't miss a shot. But so I had this heavy DSLR equipment, and I wanted to have a camera with me all the time. And I just couldn't be bothered anymore to have a DSLR with me. And so I got myself a tiny compact camera because I didn't want to spend that much money. And it was a very basic one, a Fujifilm X20, which is just a tiny one. And so I had to be more creative to come up with something I really liked. And that's how these pictures were produced. That camera is really cool at being very close to your subject. So I tried something completely different from what I usually did. And yeah, so I really believe in limiting yourself to be more creative. And,
yeah, you mean like having less of the tech support, right? Like working with no lights, for instance, working with a simpler camera, like a simpler, maybe a fixed lens.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
So this set specifically, like it looks to me like this is. I imagine they were done separately, right? Like they're done individually and put together. How did you come up with the angle? Like, because this is a very special angle that makes all of them it connects them, right? It connects them in a way that they belong in the same frame. How did you come up with that look?
Well, I had quite a lot of different pictures from these sessions, and I preferred the ones which didn't show the eyes. So I chose the ones where the eyes are not visible, but the image is still interesting in a way. So when these mouse are especially cute, and that's why they all look like the same angle and the same style. And there is this rule, make sure the eyes are sharp. And I try to come up with something with the opposite of these rules. And so there were no eyes in the picture at all. And I tried to choose the pictures which are still cool or interesting without showing the eyes. And yeah, it's a cool camera. You can go very near to the dog, and I shot from slightly below and very near to the nose, and that's what it looked like.
Nice.
And then we
love that title.
And then we started going fashion.
Yeah, I love black and white photography. I just love it, and I do. Well, I'm a bit. It's dressing up dogs is a bit of an ambiguous thing. My dogs enjoy being photographed. They always want to be the first in the shot, and the most difficult thing about my dogs is to keep the others out of the shot. So when I put a hat on her head, she's fine with it. She enjoys it.
Right.
Well, I'm not sure she enjoys really a hat on her head, but she knows she will get treats. And so she just poses like a diva for my and I love black and white photography and maybe underexposed and grainy. It's not the pictures which sell well, because the funny or the more colorful ones and the very commercial looking ones are the ones that sell better than a black and white picture. But that's something I love to do for myself and for my.
Do you think the fact that you try, or you go for a look that perhaps we're used to we have seen before, like it's like we recognize those looks from magazines, from fashion editorials, but now it's not a human, it's a beautiful dog. And I think that's where the magic goes, where people say, well, wow, I like this. And maybe that's could that be one of one of the ingredients there?
Yes, I love a lot playing with humanization of the dogs without being too or trying not to degrade the animal.
Of course.
And it is emotional and it connects with people. And I love it very much too, because my dogs are very special to me too. Humanization of animals is a bit of a double-edged sword, but done in a subtle way, I hope.
I don't think they're suffering. It doesn't look like they're suffering.
Yeah, it looks like they're pretty okay with it.
Yes.
Super happy. Elke, we have some questions from the audience. Our good friend Carl, I think Carl has been to every single stream that we've done. Carl is a great friend. Welcome, Carl. Good to see you. He asks if you get to know the dog's personality.
Yes, dogs are quite. They don't hide their personality. They show you their full personality in a session. If you even within an hour in a way. So some arrive here and might be a bit not too confident. And then you can see one is a very confident dog and very cheeky. Every dog has his unique character. And the more dogs I meet, the more interesting these dogs get to me. Sure, I don't see them I just don't see my model dogs in every situation. I just see them in the situation they are here, but they already show me lots and lots of their personality, and I try to capture that. Sometimes there are these fractions of a second where they might show something they don't really are. I try to play with that too. So sometimes a dog can, within a fraction of a second, look really, really skeptical, for example. But that's our humanized way to look at these dogs. But I also play with these conceptions and try to portray things which might not actually have been there.
That's nice.
I love it. I love it.
I love you breaking the rule of not seeing the eyes in the previous 3-shot that you had on, because that's almost never done in my experience, which I'm not an animal photographer, but it's a golden rule that always see the eyes and always have them sharp. But
you have to know the rules in order to break the rules.
That's right. That's
right. Karen Green from the UK, just like me, asks,
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen. Do you have an assistant, or do you manage to pose the dogs and shoot by yourself?
When I work with my own dogs, I often work on my own. I sometimes have my husband to help me when it's action shots, for example, and outdoors. Here in the studio, I hardly ever have an assistant. With other people's dogs, I do have the owner to help me. I often use the owners to help me because they are more nervous than the dog. When I use them as cheap or even free assistants, ask them to do this and do that, and now hold a treat here. They've got something to do and forget about being nervous. So I have the owners to help me, and I have my husband to help me. Otherwise, I do it all on my own. It often works better in a way, except for outdoors with a telelens. Then it's more difficult to take pictures of dogs or animals without an assistant. And I also take pictures of horses, and that's really difficult without an assistant, or near to impossible, in my opinion.
I would say, yeah. Yes, definitely.
We have a photograph of a horse in our collection we're going to see today, which is absolutely beautiful.
But I think it's later.
Yeah, later in that, in our
later. It's coming up. But just before I move, and I'll have more questions from the audience later as well. But Carl has another interesting question about it's more technical question. So do you click? How do you click? Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the one. That's coming up later. This one, Carl. Do you shoot in burst mode, or how is your click speed? So how do you get the moment?
In the studio, I only have a strobe which is not capable of doing burst mode. So I have to have that one shot in, I don't know, 3 seconds. And outdoors, yes, of course, when I shoot dogs in action, I use the burst mode. I try to have it very, very simple. I don't have a gazillion £1,000 or dollars equipment here. My strobe is very simple, so I don't shoot in burst mode, but it is high speed capable. So yeah, can shoot in high speed synchronization in the studio, but not burst mode. Would love to, but
all right, let's get back to the photos, and now we have this one.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh,
that's another humanized shot of my dog. This is my youngest one. He's 9 already now. And he has only one eye. And so I've got this series of pictures where his missing eye is hidden. Not because I would like to hide it, but it just turned into a series because he doesn't care if something is in front of this non-existent eye. So he looks very, very cool with having something in front of half of his face. And yeah, it's that's a prop. A scarf is a very simple prop to to humanize the dog and make it look a bit more human in a way, but I don't think it degrades the dog. I don't know, he still looks cool and confident. And
very cool. Very cool.
Elke, is that a breed that's very difficult to shoot just because of the natural behavior of?
He is actually quite difficult to shoot, but he is a mix of whatever, I don't know. All 3 of my dogs come from Spain. They're rescue dogs. There's some mutts. The 2 girls are sighthound mixes, which are sometimes not that easy to photograph. They're very friendly, but they have been through some difficult times, and they might be a bit more shy when they come, when they're taken off the streets. So they were found on the streets somewhere. Yoli, my youngest dog, he is very noise sensitive, which makes it a bit difficult to photograph him. But he learned to enjoy it too, and he demands his spot in the limelight now.
Oh dear.
Oh, that is so sweet.
I can almost hear the sigh of all the people who are watching this.
Yeah.
Because everyone is, a dog lover who's watching this and they go, oh.
You should be recording them.
Yeah, right. That'd be great if we could get their reactions. That is beautiful.
Yeah. This is Scout. She is my middle dog. She used to be quite shy, and she didn't want to be the center of attention, and she turned into a real diva. And what I'm actually a bit proud of is that this once shy dog trusts me so much with my sometimes silly ideas. Sometimes I forget that she used to be very shy. When there are other people around, she would refuse to do things she might find strange in a way. But when she's with me, she does everything, and it's so cool. And she is the coolest model. And here, that's my husband's name, Hand. And she adores him too. And Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elke, what sort of modifiers do you use with your strobes?
I have an octabox-like softbox. I love soft light, and in this case, it might have been a rectangular softbox. And I usually only use one strobe. Again, I keep it very simple. Of course, you can be more experimental and more flexible with several lights. But since I have lots and lots of different dogs in front of my camera, I try to make sure that all of them are fine with my equipment. And if I've got 3 strobes firing from all sides, shy dogs might just refuse to take part. Mm-hmm. So I have a softbox, which is a bit octabox-like. It is a balloon box. I don't know if that's the correct name for it, but it gives the same look like an octabox.
Right. So always as soft as possible.
Yeah.
That's how you go.
That's how I like it. Yeah.
And here we have one that's it's totally different from what we think we've seen already. And
can you see me?
Yeah, spot the dog. Where's the dog? I don't see the dog. Where's the dog? A great children's book series, where you kind of carry this concept through.
Like, where's Waldo?
Yeah. Where's Waldo?
There is a very cool photographer, Canadian photographer. His name is Andrew Knapp, and he has a border collie called Momo. And he hides his dog Momo in the scenery, and he's got several books out. Started with Find Momo, and it's so cool. It's a basic idea, very simple, but it's so much fun, and so much fun for everybody.
Sure.
Yeah, because you mentioned that, I just but here I just told her to sit in front of this hedge and back up, and she did, and then it looked like this.
Wow.
Perfect.
I love it.
And this is one Bill was commenting on breaking the rules before, and this is the one case where you followed it by the book. So it's like, if there is a good example of using the rule of thirds, that's the one, right?
Perfect.
Yes.
That's because of the shape of the hedge as well. But if you want to talk about the rules of photography, I have this little series where I oh God, how do you say that? Take the Mickey out of the rules of photography.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So this is separate your subject from the background. And so this is the opposite of separating your subject from the background.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Make it the background.
Well, people, if they're not aware, they should become aware of your website, because I have my eye on a couple T-shirts. And so I don't know if you, Elke, if you just want to say your website URL off the top, but it is, I love the T-shirts and the mugs and I've got to have a T-shirt. There it is.
Okay.
The stuff, the cutest stuff. Yes.
Yeah, but don't go now, guys. Wait.
No, don't go now.
Yeah.
Wait until later.
Just wait, you have time. We'll bring this information back. Just hang in there. Hang in there.
Are you going to expand to other animals besides dogs, cats, and horses? I mean, what does the future portend for you, animal-wise?
Yeah, I would love to still do more horses, for example, but also other animals, all kinds of animals actually. But yeah, so far I'm very, very happy with my cats, dogs, and horses. Yeah, and when all this mess is over, I will go out there and shoot more animals.
Well, speaking of horses, I think this is one of the most beautiful pictures of a horse that I've ever seen. It's just, first of all, look at the horse.
The horse, yeah.
Right? It's just
magnificent.
Magnificent. Yeah. I wanted the shampoo they're using. There.
Yeah,
truly.
I traveled to Spain with a friend of mine, and we shot these really beautiful horses. The breed is called Pura Raza Española, so a Spanish breed, and they are like gold. They're so beautiful. And this is a llegada, a stable in Spain by somebody whose name is Paco Martí, and he has the most amazing horses.
Beautiful.
And yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'm really interested in the way you because again the rules of a third, like the magic of photography is happening there. It's not just a beautiful animal, right? Like the background and the separation and the colors. I mean, if you look closely to this picture, it's almost a duotone, and it's just naturally like that.
Yeah.
Because you have the color of the horse, which is very close to the color of the dirt, and then you have the pale green in the background, and then the pale blue in the sky, and that's it, right? So you don't have. It's not like a carnival of colors. So the focus is very clear, and I think this is a good lesson in general in photography, right?
It is the art of selection.
Yes,
it's gorgeous, and the way the trees on the left lean back almost gives the horse speed. It's just a magnificent shot.
Did you have to run around, Elke, on this one, like keep running around the horse, or were you just still there and waiting for the moment?
Well, the horse was definitely doing more running than me, but we had two sides where we could choose, and we changed locations a few times, and the lighting, the sun was, I think it was actually at midday, so it was quite challenging to photograph in this relatively harsh light. But I think it works well because the sun on the fur of the horse was really lovely. And so in this, I chose this one because of the curve, the circle the horse was running, and you can still see the dust where the horse was running only seconds beforehand. So we shot quite a lot of pictures there.
Elke, you mentioned in your bio that you read every book that you could get your hands on when you decided that you were going to really pursue photography as your career. Is there a book that stands out in your mind as having really impacted you and that really stuck with you?
I absolutely love Bruce Barnbaum is his name, and The Art of Photography. And one of my favorite photographers, even though he didn't write a book, but Tim Fleck is one of my favorite photographers. And Bruce Barnbaum. Yeah, there are lots of inspiring photographers out there and books. I'm not sure I can come up now with names and titles of books, but I read a few.
Elke, this next picture is another picture of a horse, but this time more in the style that you were doing with the dogs, right? And I imagine the studio went to the horse and not the other way around.
Yeah, this is a Hanoverian. I come from Hanover, and we've got loads of Hanoverians here around. And this is a plain stable or barn door portrait. So I didn't use any artificial light. I just made sure that the background of the stable or the barn is dark, and the horse is nearly out with the front part of the horse. The head of the horse is outside of this barn without any sun hitting the horse. So it looks a bit like a studio shot, but it's actually a natural light shot.
Wow. Very impressive.
Very.
I thought it was a strobe. Very impressive. That's really beautiful. Yeah.
It's not the tools, right? It's the photographer who makes use of the tools that she has available to her.
and seen for looking for opportunities.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about the retouching on this one, like the post-processing? What did you do to achieve this final result?
Often enough, you don't have a barn or a stable which is completely dark, so you often have to correct something in the background. But I always make sure it is as good as possible in camera. So I make sure the horse is outside and lit up to a part where I want it to be lit, and I might tone down a bit of the back, for example. I make sure that the lightest part are not somewhere at the hind leg or the belly, but it's the lightest part is the face of the horse. And again, I make sure there is no loose fur. And I might do some, how do you call it? Dodging and burning.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry.
What is the lens here for this shot specifically?
These kinds of shots I take with at least 200 millimeters. So that's shot with a Fujifilm camera, and I've got the 50 to 140 millimeters, and that's probably shot at 140 on a 1.5 crop camera. So that's 210 millimeters, isn't it? Yeah. And with horses, you might consider using an maybe not the largest f-stop. I usually also use the largest aperture, but with horses, it might be advisable to use, for example, f4 instead of f2.8 because of these large heads, and you might end up with only the eye being sharp. I love when there's a bit more depth of field in these kinds of portraits.
Right.
It's like a painting.
It does. It's just
it does.
The blacks are so black. It looks like it reminds me of a Rembrandt, where the blacks are that black.
I was just reflecting on the class that Rebus has put on, and how subtle, just very subtle things in Lightroom, very subtle things can make just an enormous difference, rather than radical change in color or radical this. But just by doing what you're saying, no loose fur, maybe tone the background down a little, these are very subtle things, but what a difference it makes.
Yeah. And try to keep it as natural as possible. When you start out with using Photoshop as a beginner, or in the beginning, you are you love all the features, and people tend to overdo it, in my opinion. I did that too. And when I look back at older pictures, for example, of dog portraits, and I see that I added some saturation, for example, and all of a sudden now I see that the eyes are far too red. So I'm happy I chose a different path now and have
Less
a more
natural look. Less is more. Yes.
Photography is really one of those things where you can constantly evolve. Doesn't make any difference how many years you've been in the business. You can constantly evolve, constantly learn. Lifetime learners, most photographers are.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me bring some more questions from the audience. So we have Stills by Rohit asks, how do you click multiple dogs together?
Yeah. So in the studio, I make sure that they actually like being photographed together. So lots of dogs need a bit of personal space. And when they look like, oh, I don't want to sit next to him, that doesn't give for a good picture. So I have an eye on that. And if they are okay with being near to each other, I make sure that they are totally relaxed and like being next to each other. When you're outdoors and for example, you shoot dogs in action, you can just observe what they do and try to capture the action, whatever they present you with. That's what I love about outdoor photography, that dogs can be dogs and just run around and you capture the action. The dogs should not be too far from each other. So the distance between the dogs and the camera should not know that the distance between one dog and the camera and the other dog and the camera should not be too far. So otherwise you have to use a very, very small aperture to make sure that both of them are sharp. So when I do portraits outdoors, I make sure they are on the same distance to the camera.
All right, let's see just another picture. We're almost ready to wrap up our stream today. But so if you guys have another question, feel free to bring them. Okay, so because we're reaching our final stages here. So let's see this one, because this is another one that I think it looks like a painting. It's just so beautiful. And again, that mixture of the subject with the background. And if you can speak a little bit about this one, Elke, that'll be lovely, because this one is a beauty.
Thank you. That's actually one of my favorite images in a way, because it is more of what I love to do. I love to take pictures of dogs, any kind, but I love to be a bit more experimental sometimes. And as a commercial photographer, you have to have these clean and colorful, sharp portraits. And when I shoot for myself, I do something like this. This was shot in camera. And I added grain and I underexposed, and I used a wide angle lens, even though it is more of an elegant portrait in a way. So it does have this weird look to an elegant portrait, in my opinion, which makes it a bit more interesting, in my opinion, maybe. And yeah, I love moody, dark pictures. So this is one of my favorites, and I sometimes don't dare to show them because you shouldn't show too many different styles, or it's nothing somebody would buy for a dog food. A dog food company wouldn't buy this picture. But I send it into a British black and white photography magazine, and they actually chose it as a cover for their magazine, and that made me really happy because it was one of my favorite pictures to find an audience.
It's just
one more question on that, Ilka. Did you burn in? Look at the gesture I make. Talk about dating myself. Yeah. But did you actually burn in the corners of the frame on that, and then allow the gray to come out a little bit in the center?
No, that is it is the corner of my studio here, and to the right is a window. She looks towards a window. She's sitting right next to the window, and the brighter part on the back of the wall is actually the light coming through the window, and the darker part to the right is the corner of the room. So that's was all.
Yeah,
there was no artificial light and no Photoshop involved here.
Beautiful.
Well, as Bill would always say, it's better to be lucky than good. And in your case, Elke, you're both.
Yes, exactly.
Clearly, you're both. I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people who've tuned in. You're certainly an inspiration to me because, life is short. And I think, it's hard to live every day to the fullest, keeping it in mind that it is just a temporary thing, this thing we call life on Earth. But the fact that you're doing what you love and that you took such a risk and you put yourself out there and
built a good business,
and you've built a life for yourself, a life that, and a business that you can really be proud of. And you're creative. And I think you serve as an inspiration for a lot of photographers out there who maybe are doubting themselves or are nervous and are afraid to take that risk. And I think they can look to what you've done and feel, that they're worth it. It's worth taking the risk.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. And when I started out, or before I started as a photographer, even before all that happened, I thought I lacked talent in photography. When I saw other people and their photographs, I admired these photographs and thought I would never be able to take pictures like that. I haven't got any talent. And now I think that talent is widely overrated. And patience and perseverance, and keep on taking pictures, keep on working on your skills is far more important. And when you make sure that you still love what you are doing, and then you have the patience to go on and take pictures, and even if times are not as nice, to get through that time, and use photography also as something to develop your own personal skills. Or
Do you think down the line you might be interested in becoming one of our masters and an instructor? So maybe a handful of people could take a workshop with you and submit their work to you, and have you work with them one-on-one, maybe on certain projects. I know that there are a lot of people who would love to, so I figured I would break the ice and ask if maybe down the line that would be something that we could explore with you.
And
I hope we
have the pressure of being on camera.
Yeah, there's no pressure, just, live,
I have to admit, I still prefer being behind the camera, but I love to challenge myself as well. So yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Well, Elke, we can only thank you for this conversation with us, and your work is amazing. It's beautiful. It's fun. It's funny. It's just a joy to contemplate and to share. I bet your engagement rate is probably, like on your Instagram, it must be off the charts, because it's just the type of photo that you want to show your family, show your friends, show people that you love. And we really appreciate that you took this time today to talk a little bit with us. So thank you so much. I hope everyone goes to your website. Not now, guys. Wait, we still have information. But after the stream, just go to your website, because not only you have the photos there, but you have an interesting collection of how they were used in different publications and different pieces. And I think that's awesome. That's an amazing example of how to transform your passion into work, just like you commented a little bit today, right? Like you said, well, now I'm getting paid for the thing that I love doing, and that's a beautiful thing when you get used to it.
And don't feel guilty about it.
No.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the invitation. It was a pleasure, and I hope some people got some inspiration and motivation.
Lovely. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I thank you once again. You've been amazing. Lots of you have signed up to our newsletter, so if you want to do the same thing, just go to luminocenter.com right now, sign up to the newsletter, so we can send you every week what's the next stream that we're doing. And we're doing that basically every week. So do that. Go to luminocenter.com, sign up, leave your email there so we can talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to count all the subscribers, and if it's not all of you, I'll be sad and I'll cry.
They're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble.
We're watching.
And if you like this interview, this conversation, this interview, this talk, this.
Even if you didn't.
Yes, if you didn't, like it twice.
Yeah.
And if you did, just like it once, okay? So do that, and we will be waiting for you on our next one. We still don't know which one it is, but it's going to be awesome, just like this one. So make sure you sign up for all of those things. Elke, thank you once again. Bill, Denise, you want to say your
what a fun hour.
Happy birthday to Bill.
Oh,
yeah, today's Bill's birthday.
Happy birthday, Bill.
Oh boy, internationally, this is amazing.
All right, guys. See you next time.
Take care. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.